Welcome to another episode of Middle Ground with L.L.C, L.L.C, where we treat you like family. That is the theme song, Detroit Love, off my first album, The J.L.C Experience. We got another amazing guest for you today. We have speaker, I'm cut my phone down, be quiet. We have speaker, researcher, mentor, and inspiring integrative health medicine psychiatrist, Brandon Brown. Welcome to the show, sir.
It's glad to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
I appreciate you sharing your story.
Yeah.
Jump right in. First question: what led you to this path?
Yeah. So what led me here is a very, very long story. It started in middle school, I would say. I was going through a lot of mental health concerns. I was bullied a little bit, and I started to take that really personally. I started to develop lots of anxious issues, like generalized anxiety disorder. Um, I had almost no friends, no social life, and at times I was near the suicide, near thinking about suicide. I graduated high school then with about a 1.8 GPA. I was depressed, and I didn't care anything about my grades, about my soccer career. As a kid, I had always gotten straight A's, and I cared a lot about soccer. I was always like the best in my teams and everything, and I started to get fed up because of the mental health that I was going through. And so when I graduated high school, it was like the lowest point in my life. I didn't know where I wanted to go. My parents were like, "What are you gonna do?" Because I had low GPA, and I didn't really have any aspirations to do anything or go anywhere with my life. So then I made this just change really to say, I'm gonna fix my life. I'm gonna go to community college and try to get my grades back up and start caring about my mental health again. And so I did. I went to Oakland Community College and I graduated with a 3.8 GPA. I got my associates in science, and therefore I was able to go to the top public university in the country, University of Michigan. It really turned my life around. That was a great stepping stone in my life, I would say. And then COVID had happened, and I spent about a year online. Up every night until about 4 a.m. in the morning on this virtual world playing video games. And because my self-esteem was so low and I hadn't realized it yet, it was really covered up by the external factors of me, being at a top college and thinking that I had really gotten over my mental health, which really wasn't the case. I had several like online girlfriends that lived about, all over the world. I didn't really want to do those things and be up till 4 a.m. in the morning when I had classes at 7 a.m. in the morning. But my low self-esteem, I kind of needed something, and I felt like that would make me feel better about myself. And so since I didn't deal with that, I started having these breakdowns, these traumatic breakdowns. I got near suicide again. I remember I was in my parents' house and I had got up in the middle of the night. I couldn't sleep for about 2 weeks straight. I had no idea what was going on with me. My heart felt like it was racing like almost every single day. I was in a traumatic panic episode, like all day, 24/7. I can't even explain how bad it felt and how surreal it was. I had to be taken to the ER about 3 times. The doctors couldn't figure out what was wrong with me, anything like that. Um, and so I had taken a long time, about 6 months, to get over this phase in my life. And the only sort of mental health care treatment that I had was Medicaid insurance, mental health care treatment, because my dad, he was switching jobs. We had Blue Cross Blue Shield, but he had to switch jobs. And for that 1 month period, we thought everything would be fine, that nothing bad would happen. We would be fine with Medicaid. But unfortunately, this traumatic event had happened out of nowhere. And so I needed to be taken to the ER, and I started seeing psychiatrists that were under Medicaid insurance. And the quality of service that I got was extremely poor. This was a time when I was very suicidal and everything, and my life really could have ended because of that poor service. Uh, the therapists that I had were 30 minutes late to every single session that we had. Uh, Not 30 minutes, about 15 minutes, I'm sorry. But the sessions were 30 minutes long. And the look on his face, like what you would think with a therapist, is that they would be compassionate, emotional, with you, some sort of empathy.
Mm-hmm.
But he would just be stone faced in the camera, like some sort of a robot. He would just read off these checklists of questions. How depressed do you feel? Are you getting any sleep? Are you keeping up on your medications? And this would be like the entirety of the therapy session,
Wow.
for about 20 minutes. And he would be late on top of that. And all the kind of service that I got was just, drugs. Here are some drugs that I can give you to help solve the problem. And it was just shocking to me when my dad had got the job that he was going to get, and we switched back to Blue Cross Blue Shield. The change in quality of care. I started getting 1 hour therapy appointments. The doctors were suddenly suggesting meditation, exercise, natural foods, trying to get to the real source of the problem, trying to discover where this low self esteem came from and how the breakdown happened. She was never late to any of my appointments. Nobody, none of the therapists that I had here were late to the appointments.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, it was just, it really surprised me how different the difference was. And so with this new insurance, when I took the advice of the new insurance funded mental health care side, I started to get better, and I got out of that suicide state, and I've been really excelling ever since. But ever since then, that's really what sparked my interest in mental health care disparities in general, because I couldn't help but think, some people in low income areas their only source of mental health care is really Medicaid. This is what they're going through all the time.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have access to the Blue Cross Blue Shield that fortunately I did to get out of my suicidal state. So I just became really passionate about trying to find ways to bridge that kind of mental health care disparity. So that's why I'm here on this panel, and that's why I'm doing all these speaking engagements. I also do lots of research about the issue. I'm a pre-med at the University of Michigan, a senior about to apply to medical school. I'm also an author about to submit into the National Center of Disease Control for my
Awesome.
research on PTSD and its link with chronic diseases and veterans. So I'm trying to do a lot. All that I do is kind of focused on bridging the mental health care disparity gap and becoming an integrative health psychiatrist.
Now, what is that?
Integrative
Integrated
health.
health medicine psychiatrist.
So the difference between integrative health and like what you would really consider a typical psychiatrist is that the typical psychiatrist, they don't really offer anything but medications. Like if someone has
Okay.
generalized anxiety disorder, they'll just throw an SSRI at them, like a Xanax or a Lexapro or something like that. But integrative health kind of tries to go away from that and treat the person not as a diagnosis, but holistically. Talking to them. Trying to get to the root of why they ended up in that mental health condition, offering different types of dietary suggestions because food really affects the way we feel, both physically and mentally. A lot of people don't know that. Exercise, all sorts of things like that. It's just more than just drugs that they offer.
Okay. Cool. So, what was the first thing to make you lean into want to do the speaking?
Yeah, the first thing I really thought about when I had recovered from the suicide situation I was in is, wow, this is crazy. I got to spread awareness about this.
Okay.
People because the people who are actually getting this care from the Medicaid insurance mental health care sites, they're just being drugged up, and not being taken care of properly. So nobody's going to be able to speak on that. I was lucky in my situation to see it, to experience it, and to get
Mm-hmm.
through on the other side. So I feel like I have to be that beacon of light because there's a lot
Okay.
of improvement that's there to be done. That was just my first thought.
Now, you spoke at the Tri County Mental Health Fair October 8th. How was
Yeah,
that experience for you?
that was great. It was my second speaking engagement. Yeah, I spoke on a panel and was able to I opened a lot of people's eyes. I talked to a lot of people after that, and a lot of them were like, I didn't know that these natural foods, these natural compounds, such as ashwagandha, I mentioned that, have the same exact effects as some of the SSRIs and some of the drugs that these doctors are prescribing. I was able to open eyes to what's actually happening, and provide that sort of perspective, what's actually happening in between Medicaid insurance sites and private insurance mental health care sites.
Yeah, I also remember, believe he's Senator Mike McDonald was there from
Yeah.
Michigan. He was
Yes, he was.
definitely one to want to help these things along and put some legislation in play to help the people better, which is pretty cool.
Yes, I was able to talk to him as well. I'm also talking to some mayors of cities in Metro Detroit right now,
Awesome.
about how we can enforce policies to, bridge the gap in mental health care.
Okay. Um, Now you're a researcher as well. What
Yes.
specifically are you researching? That's the PTSD or something else?
Yeah, so the paper I'm doing right now is on post-traumatic stress disorder and its association with chronic diseases. So I'm doing that with only veterans right now because that's the sample that I was given. So firefighters, they have to go and see all these traumatic experiences almost every single day. A lot of people
Yes.
don't know, like their primary job is not fighting fires. They actually have to do emergency rescue all the time and see people having heart attacks all the time and see some of their coworkers die all the time, like almost every single day. That's their whole job. So my research consists of trying to see if firefighters with post-traumatic stress disorder, they're more likely to have chronic diseases because mental illness has been shown to be strongly linked with chronic diseases. And what we actually found was that the firefighters with PTSD were 4 times more likely to have a chronic disease than firefighters without.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay. This is the point of the show. Do you have anything you got going on you want to promote?
Uh, let's see.
Any speaking events or anything like that coming up?
Speaking of events, I'm still trying to work on that right now. I just got done doing about three so far, but I'm just
Wow.
waiting on the next the next
You
invite to.
grinding, brother.
Yeah, I'm working with
You
some
are.
mayors right now. Hopefully, get some soon.
And that got to be an awesome experience to these leaders to want to work with you to further the mission and
Yes,
purpose that you want.
yes, they've all been very, very interested to hear my story. Like no one has really heard from the perspective of the people that are actually being treated
Hmm.
in these mental health care sites. So
That's true. And you're a mentor as well.
yes,
How has that helped you, and what made you jump into that role?
yes. I always like helping people who are going through situations that I went through. It just gives me a sense of happiness and joy when I see people who are going through mental health or going through a tough time when they're able to get over that. That's like the best thing for me to see since all that I've been through and everything. And so I've always been like that, just trying to help people. And so I've always kind of been a mentor with the people that I know. But now I do like kind of official mentoring with the University of Michigan right now with
Awesome.
transfer students. But yeah.
Now, have you do you have any data that shows prior to COVID, people, I guess, were maintaining with mental issues compared to now? Is we definitely have the hotline number 988 for people with mental issues need help, and people are speaking on it more. Do you think
Yeah.
COVID made a damn break where people are really addressing these issues?
Yeah, I think COVID definitely sparked an interest in mental health since everybody was stuck inside for like about 2 years. Nobody could go to social events. Um, the communication was off. People were just stuck to and be in their rooms and be on their phones all the time. That's kind of stuff can take an effect on anyone. And so I've seen like a huge increase in mental health and breaking the stigma and everything like that. And as far as data that shows that, I think I saw something like mental health illness rates in America have increased by about 20% since 2020, or something very, very high. I'm not sure exactly, but
Okay.
it was a really high number.
Yes, I know a lot of people will check in with me like, "You good?" Like,
Yeah.
Look, I'm trying to graduate. I don't care if the planet blow up. I need to get
Yeah,
that piece of paper, man. I'm tired of doing this journey. I need to get to the next step.
yeah.
We used to
That's
have check-ins every beginning of class because
yeah,
every day you're hearing different stuff during that period. So like,
yeah.
how were we doing?
That's
That
the
was
thing.
surreal.
Yeah, that's the thing with mental health. It's hard to keep track of how many people are actually suffering from it because of the stigma, especially in marginalized communities. People like, you want to ask them, "Are you good, man?" But they'll say, "Nah, I'm good." Even with, "Are you good?" They say, "Yeah, I'm good." Even when they're not, because they don't want to be seen as weak and everything. So we have these numbers that say, approximately 20% of the population is struggling for mental health. That number is probably a lot higher because people aren't actually, reporting on these surveys. I'm actually suffering because they don't want to
Mhm.
be seen as weak. So yeah, a lot of my work tries to break the stigma because it's a very, very important thing to keep track of your mental health.
And it's sad because in our community, that's definitely been a thing. Like, oh, you gotta go to the special class, but if you need help, you need to get it. You don't need to
Yeah,
be shunned like you're a leper because you need help.
yeah,
Life is hard. And if you grow up in inner city, ain't no telling what you experienced and seen.
yeah. I
I went to
spoke
high
about
school in the '90s, and shootings in Cooley Halls was everyday thing. Like Bone Thugs would say, like, okay, they shoot on the second floor. Let's go to honors math and keep it moving. But you shouldn't have to deal with that. That shouldn't be
yeah,
normal.
yeah. I
You
spoke
saw it
about
before
this
you knew it.
I spoke about this at the panel that I met you at. I said that I was talking about like why the stigma, particularly in Black people and other marginalized communities, why the mental health stigma is so high. And I was saying like it's because of the historical aspect of it. As Black people, as marginalized communities, we've always been forced to be tough, right? We've
Yeah,
always been forced to, through slavery. You couldn't say, "Wait a minute, man, I'm suffering, man, I can't go through this." You had to always be on your feet, man. And the Jim Crow laws and everything, we've always been just forced, tough it out, or else we couldn't survive. And so now we're like suffering from the aftermath of it, where we pass that culture down. And it's
yes.
starting to get a little bit better, but it's going to take a little bit more
I mean,
awareness about it.
I know coming up in the '90s, it was like being a young black male was hard because you need to be a terminator. Don't nothing
Yeah,
affect you. That girl broke your heart. So what? Don't
yeah,
cry. You soft. And
yeah,
you like that. You're a human being. Which you
yeah,
mean? This girl broke your heart and dating your homeboy, and you ain't upset about it. Man, that ain't nothing. That's just a little scratch. No, it ain't no scratch. That hurt.
yeah,
But it was prevalent back then. Like, ah, you soft. Or if you got sick. I remember you being sick, working in Wayne State, take a few days off. Female friend call. What you doing at home? Like, I'm sick. You ain't having
yeah,
no baby. Like, what the hell?
yeah,
I'm sick. We're human, right? But that was like the perception. No, you're a superhero. You don't nothing phase you.
yeah,
You better be the Walking Dead, and everything is sad, saying you want to hurt yourself or just give up. But you better be smiling like nothing's wrong, and that is lunacy to think that's
yeah.
normal
That's
because it's
crazy.
not. And it's good we're talking about this now, where you're human. It's okay to say I need help,
Yeah,
and now it's out there to get people to help because man, anytime how many people are suffering in silence, then they snap. What's wrong with them?
yeah,
They even want some help for the lungs. I keep saying, shut up, do some push-ups. You all right? You know, which is crazy. So, what has been your biggest challenge on your journey?
my biggest challenge. Hmm. I would say my biggest challenge was getting through this suicidal period that I was going through before. That's a huge part of my journey. That's why I'm here today talking about this and trying to spread awareness. Uh, like for 6 months, I had about 2 or 3 spells where I was actually considering suicide. It was very, very, very tough. I didn't see any light in the world, any hope. I was struggling, going through the hospitals. all the time, and no one knew what was wrong with me. Um, just going through that time of uncertainty really was my biggest hurdle. But now, I enjoy speaking. I enjoy going to events. I enjoy doing research, and now I get to help people. I get to give back based on my experience. So I don't find anything I'm doing right now hard. It's just the battle to get here, really.
Now, for you, when you were dealing with that, and hopefully anybody watching or see the replay that might be dealing with that, was it voices telling you just pack it in or whatever?
Yeah, yeah. It was a lot of inside voices saying, this isn't worth it anymore. You're not worth anything. But the whole low self-esteem. I used to, think I was the ugliest guy in the world. It was my main thing was that I thought I was ugly. I
Hmm.
used to get bullied about that a lot. Low self-esteem. I'm never gonna have a wife. No one likes me. Just insecurity. It's like all the time these voices inside my head. People don't know what it's like. People think you're crazy and that sort of mindset. But mental health is real, man. Like
Oh yeah, I believe it.
voices inside your head just for all
I
that
mean,
time, it can get to you.
in high school, I attempted suicide for a week.
Wow.
I would a lot of issues. Father was gone, drinking, smoking weed. Me and moms weren't cool, so I would get a knife, put it to my wrist, and like, will nobody care if I do it? But God will work with you where you are. And I love Tupac. Me
Yeah.
against the world out. And he always say, man, go play Pac. Calm down, put that down. And by that Friday, I'll just go play Me Against the World if I had those thoughts. So anybody had those thoughts, go seek help. Don't listen
Yeah.
to them.
Please.
You are worth it. You ain't gotta listen to it and do whatever it's telling you to do. Don't listen to it.
Yeah.
God got you. There's help. Call 988.
Yes.
I just want to bring that up because I know someone might hear a replay or hear now that may have dealt with it or know someone, and they might be able to see that perspective of, oh, so that's what is going on. Because even then, those thoughts we just spoke on, you ain't hearing nothing. You just tripping, man. Chill out. But that's a real battle going on within
Yeah. You got
that
to
you're
deal
trying
with it.
to.
Yeah.
It ain't nothing just to brush off. That's real. That needs to be dealt with and reinforce that your purpose is greater than what that voice is saying. You're
Yes.
equally wonderfully made because God made you. There's just a little bump in the road you can get over and start doing the things you need to do, as you've done. And now you like a superhero champion this cause, and it's going to help a lot of more people out here,
I hope
which is
so.
awesome.
Yeah.
Now, what has been your impact on your journey?
My impact. So my journey is pretty early off in his career. I'd say I just started speaking about 6 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I have seen a lot of progress so far. I was talking earlier about how I have meetings with mayors now.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the mayors in Detroit, I mean, not Detroit, in Metro Detroit, I've been talking to, and we're going to have meetings discussing how we can change these policies in the mental health care sites, so that uh, we don't have workers coming late to appointments. They're
Yeah.
not only prescribing drugs to these kids, to these adults, to whoever the patient is. They're offering other alternatives, other known research proven alternatives, such as meditation, exercise, eating
Mm-hmm.
right, working with your problems, getting to the root of the problem and talking with therapists, um, being able to enforce policies that require these mental health care sites to work in that way. Because right now there's no foundation for that. You can just get away with what I experience, which is
Wow.
30-minute appointments, only medication here, take that. And research shows that blacks, for some reason, in the mental health care industry, that
Mm-hmm.
they're more likely to be over medicated than white people, like 4 times, just on the basis of the color of your skin. Like the rates for
Wow.
that is just is very, very high.
That's
They
crazy.
just look at you. They say you're black, and they're gonna give you all these sorts of things that aren't even addressing the real roots of the problem. You know, and I think a lot of that comes from kind of our culture as
Mm-hmm.
black people. You know, we're kind of stereotyped to like drugs anyway. You know, with the weed problems and the alcohol problems. You go
Mm-hmm.
to Detroit and you see the liquor stores like on
Every corner.
every single block. I was driving from Detroit the other day to then Redford and then Farmington. I was just looking out the window, and there's literally liquor stores on both sides of the street, one like 5 feet away from each other. I'm like, what? Why do you
Yeah.
need liquor store 5 feet away from each other? What is the point of that? Then you go to
Mm-hmm.
Redford, and then you go to Farmington. You slowly just start seeing these things disappear, and the fast food as well. You know, McDonald's on every single block, Wendy's, Burger Kings. And then you go out to the suburban areas. You see more healthy grocery stores, vegan restaurants, vegetarian restaurants. It's like the access from a low income person's perspective. They're exposed to all these things that have been proven by research to hurt your mental and physical health. And that was caused by the zoning laws that these citizens voted for. Um,
They
so
probably didn't
just
think that was going to be the case.
yeah,
But you're right.
yeah,
You see
it's
all that in the neighborhood, unfortunately, compared to suburbs. It might be
yeah,
one liquor store, and that's it. You got to go
yeah,
2 more miles up, see another one, not
yeah,
walk 10 paces.
yeah,
And it shouldn't be resources, even with Medicare, that you'll get a doctor that's late or just take some meds. Next,
right, right,
healthcare is healthcare. You took an oath to help people.
right,
This ain't a fast food joint,
right.
which is crazy.
Yeah, one of the psychiatrists or the psychiatrists that I met with at the Medicaid insurance mental health care site, he had just told me like my parents were with me at the time, and they're kind of questioning, they're iffy about the drugs they're trying to prescribe me.
Hmm.
So they were questioning him about it, and so he said, you know, why are you here if you're not gonna if you don't want medication? And that just
Wow.
shocked me because this is like an experienced, a licensed psychiatrist here
Oh,
telling me that, and that's what the hundreds of other patients have to go through, like right now, probably too. You know, to this day, hundreds
wow.
of people are just getting this kind of service, and they have serious problems. You know, and they're getting sold these lies that you know this drug will fix your mental health problems. You know, you just need to take a quick pill. That didn't work, let me put you on Lexapro. Oh, that didn't work, you know, sometimes these drugs don't work, let me put you on Xanax, you know, or let me up the dose. And that's how a lot of people end up getting addicted and overdosing and dying or dependent on these drugs and having all these relapse problems. um,
And you got to
yeah,
get to the root of it because
yeah,
something is driving you to feel this way.
yeah,
Drugs are just masking the issue compared to my parents' household had problems, and that screwed me up ever since.
right,
And that's still going to be a process, but knowing that, okay, we can start working on that and get you good. But take these 5 pills. Next, you still got that issue at the that you're
right.
dealing with. But they shot something up. We don't know why because you didn't help them. You took an oath just because they ain't got blue care or whoever healthcare. Really,
Yeah,
healthcare is healthcare.
yeah.
That is terrible.
Yeah, what I try to do is educate people on what the drug is actually doing to you, you know, the scientific aspect of it. Because a lot of people just, you know, take these drugs, they don't question like what is it inside these drugs, you know?
Yep, side
What is
effects.
the magical substance that is making me, you know, happier? Like how
Mhm.
does that work? But well, it works by increasing the level of serotonin in your brain. Serotonin is a chemical that's not really a hormone in your body. It's not really researched that well. The doctors think that it's kind of a mood stabilizer for us. And
Okay.
so, what they do, where they get these chemical substances, is the earth. They get it from herbs. They take the chemicals from herbs like marijuana. You know, marijuana is just a plant that grows in the ground. There's all kinds of different plants that grow in the ground. You
Hmm.
know, they take the chemicals from it and they put it in the lab, and they manipulate the chemical structure of the chemicals in ways that are not natural. They weren't supposed to be, bent that way, and they change the structure of these chemicals in ways to get like an amplifying effect, a desired pharmaceutical effect, so that you feel really, really good, really, really high. When you can just take the normal substance out of nature and feel more natural, how it's
Mm-hmm.
supposed to be feeling from it. And with the herbs from nature, like ashwagandha, like I was talking about earlier, they don't have the risk of side effects on it. That you see the 100 words of side effects in all of these different psychiatric drugs may
Yeah.
cause nausea. The worst one may increase risk of suicidal thoughts,
Wow.
may increase dizziness, like 100 different labels. None of the herbs in the earth come with those labels. They don't come with the risk of addiction, they don't come with dependence, they don't come with relapse or anything. And they're available in your local stores like CVS and Walgreens. They're all over the place. And a lot of people that are addicted to these drugs and being prescribed to deal with their mental health, they don't know about it. They're clueless about it. And so, that's why I do these speaking engagements to try to get that word
And
out.
get the word out. Cause that's man, them side effects ain't no joke.
Yeah. I had to deal with them for over 4 months.
Damn.
Yeah, like I had memory problems, all sorts of stuff from the drugs that I was taking. It just felt like it was destroying who I was. It's terrible.
Good you got back on the road to who you are.
Yeah,
Um, Last question. What advice do you have for someone trying to find their purpose?
advice to have for someone. I would say just be completely honest with yourself. Always look at the truth of the situation and don't try to be corrupted by what the mind tells you, because it'll tell you all sorts of different things. It'll steer you off course. In my situation, I was on track to, you know, become very successful in life. I had straight A's, and I was very good at soccer. I was a happy young kid, and then I started listening to the voices in my head, and these things that weren't true, like no one likes me, I have no purpose in my life, I'm so anxious, everyone bullies me, no one respects me. All these different lies in my head, but I wasn't really paying attention to my family who was trying to tell me the truth, and
Mhm.
just that inner voice inside you, because we all have that inner voice that knows what the real truth of the matter is. I would say just listen to your gut, when it's about finding your purpose. I never really thought I would be in this position today for a while, until I started listening to my inner feeling and my gut, and stopped listening to the voices inside my head that tried to distract me.
And it seemed like the devil saw you about to be shining out here helping people. We gotta take him out early.
Yeah,
Get him off the board now.
yeah,
Crank up the volume with the voices because I already seen his future. He about to meet with mayors and all. He about to get some programs. Oh no, this dude gotta go. And it's sad. It sounds funny, but people need to realize, just like you might believe whatever God you call God, good versus evil. There's someone to realize that no, you gonna mess up business. I'm having people destroy their lives every day. I don't need you coming out here talking no good stuff. Go on. What's the advice? Get them. Get their man messed up. Because that person right there is going to do way too much help a lot of people. We don't need that. Get them now. Get them young when they ain't really got their confidence. I can say this and that. It might stick, but your purpose is strong, brother. If you're able to
yeah,
shake it off, then you put your foot on their throat.
yeah.
And more people going, and hopefully they do change. If you have Medicare, a doctor do their job, be on time.
Please. Yeah,
Don't matter. Well, they ain't got the Dom Perignon. Don't matter about that. They got health care. Do your best job.
yeah,
Period. That's all that should
yeah.
be.
That's the thing with mental health care as well. There's regular like physical health care disparities, but the thing with mental health care disparities, I feel like it shouldn't really exist, because
Mhm.
there's no excuse for why every single mental health care site in the country, should have these policies, shouldn't have these policies. Everyone should be able to be on time for appointments. Everyone should be able to list other alternatives other than drugs that are research proven to help with your mental mood. If these are things that we know in society that help your mental health, then there's no reason why we shouldn't enforce it. With regular healthcare disparities, maybe there's disparities in the funding, like you can't have these technologies to be able to perform x-rays or anything. You don't need that with mental health care disparities, right? You just need to be able to talk with the people to get to the real source of the issue and just offer something other than just drugs. And that's something all of our mental health care sites can implement.
And hopefully get on it before January hit.
Yeah.
Or if it takes January, they start changing it then.
Yeah.
This your first podcast being on?
It is. It is. I've been watching like a lot of podcasts on YouTube. I always wanted to be on one, so thank you.
Hey, you welcome back anytime, brother.
Thank
Doing
you.
some awesome stuff. Yeah, I mean, your story was powerful at the event in October.
Yes.
So when you reached out, like, oh yeah, I remember you. Yeah, definitely. Here help. You're gonna help some people. They play the replay, so people might feel energized and want to go into this field, want to help people the way you doing. You doing your thing, brother, for real, and you overcame, which is awesome.
Thank you.
And that's the biggest part. So if you do it, someone watch this will see he did it. I could do it.
Yeah.
It ain't insurmountable of a mountain to overcome because I'm listening to this dude say he can't overcome. So it's doable.
Yeah.
So I definitely want to thank speaker, researcher, mentor, aspiring integrative health medicine psychiatrist, Brandon Brown, sharing his story and all the awesome work you all here doing. I expect to be seeing these policies on TV. Like we came up with this policy, universal. We're gonna be doing this and that. Nobody gonna be late. You starting to change, brother.
Yes.
You need to be cracking.
Thank you.
Any last words before we close it out?
Yeah, I'd just like to encourage anybody who's viewing this. I've talked to a lot of people who at events that I've spoken with after, and they all know somebody with a mental health. You may not be going through mental health yourself, but you probably have a cousin, a brother, a friend's friend who's going through something difficult with mental health. I just encourage you to just speak awareness to it, and just to encourage whoever it is, or encourage yourself, to not think of mental health as something bad, but something that you seriously need to take care of, and to just spread the word about taking more care of your mental health integratively and holistically. The problem that we have today is that we have a culture of treating mental health and treating people who have mental health illnesses as a diagnosis, and not the actual person going through that problem. So just encourage people to do research about other natural foods, because there's a lot out there that are alternatives to medicine that actually work better than the medicines that the pharmaceutical industry is prescribing themselves. And just to help spread awareness about the discrepancies that are happening within the mental health care community right now, so that we can get more change and more policies, implemented. So just to spread the word, because I don't see that many people talking about this right now. People are still thinking that mental health is a joke, and that there's no disparities out there really, but that's just not the case. And we need to spread more awareness about this issue, because it's very, very serious.
Okay, I'm gonna let you close it out. More of that knowledge to help people get on the right track. Do some research. Hope everybody have an awesome weekend. Check out the replay. Reach out to his brother. You want to work and partner with him because he's doing some amazing things in this industry to help change the world of mental health. And everybody have a safe night.